Good morning. I'm sitting here with a person who may be very familiar to many of you throughout this region. I'm sitting with David Crabtree, who is the anchor person at WRAL television in Raleigh, Channel 5. And you see him almost every day at the news desk and for special programs as well. David is a faithful Episcopalian, which you may not have known. He is also a good friend, and I'm glad to welcome here to our diocesan house to come. He's come to eat lunch with me today, so we're not going to linger long over this interview.
Good to be here.
Welcome.
Always good to be in this place, this space.
Glad to have you here. How long have you been a member of the Episcopal Church?
Over half my life now, since I was 27. So we're at about 31. Let me do the math real quickly. I was at least 30 years, if not 34.
All right. And in addition to being a faithful member of this church, I know you enjoy a specific ministry within this church.
I was ordained as a vocational deacon in the Diocese of North Carolina, June 13th, 2004. So now for 7 years. And the focus of my ministry primarily has been end-of-life issues, either through hospice care or death row. But now it's also evolved into more transitional in the sense of end-of issues for people, with so many people being out of work, so many people looking to do different things in their lives, or people who've just gone through major transitions that have been deeply traumatic for them.
This is the classic description of the ministry of a deacon, someone who perceives the heartache and the heartbreak of the world, whether it's unemployment or death row or end-of-life issues due to illness, and a deacon responds to that need, and then goes back and interprets that need to the church.
And hopefully, in doing so, gets the church to respond to it. Just today, on the way down here, I was listening to a program on NPR about what's happening in the Horn of Africa, with so many people, millions in drought now. 29,000 estimate children have died in the past 3 months.
Oh, wow.
Heard from one woman who had walked hundreds of miles, or 100 miles, with her 5 children. By the time she got to the refugee camp, she had 2 children. Along the way, this young mother had lost 3 children. And I was thinking, coming here, how do we respond? We respond in prayer first, but how do we respond even in our own stewardship of our lives, our diets, our eating, our looking at climate change, et cetera, et cetera. And I realized that, you will forever be a deacon as well.
That's right.
That it is incumbent upon us to make these things known to a church that wants to hear, even when we have our own stuff we're having to deal with too.
It's that heart. It's that heart, that big heart for the heartbreak of the world. That is the call of deacons, certainly, and bishops and priests and every baptized person. I know some ways we respond through Episcopal Relief and Development, who've helped, as you know, with the tornadoes here in East Carolina and North Carolina, Diocese of this past spring, and preventable disease, Nets for Life, there was malaria, anti-malarial work of Episcopal Relief and Development. All these are ways that we respond to the heartbreak of the world, and it's the part of the work of the deacon to help us perceive that heartbreak. So,
well, it is, and there are times that we sort of drive people nuts.
That's also the part of the work of the deacon, is to drive.
Because we come in and you want to say, can't you understand this?
Right.
Well, then God has a way of taking us and saying, can't you understand that? Voice it, plant that seed, do your best to cultivate this, and then let's move on with the memory of that. And the interior change, though, Bishop, of each of us as we are seeing different heartbreaks really is what changes the world.
Indeed.
And either we change internally for the good, or we become hardened. And ultimately, I'm convinced God does break through, as only God can, to say, I need you.